Hey folks, Matt from ReadyTheImage.com. Got some great feedback here from Michael Lang on the Zeiss 85mm f1.4 Planar T lens. So he's saying, coming in massively late to this conversation because we had discussed this in a previous video, but I have a few thoughts. The Zeiss 85mm f1.4 Planar T is one of my favorite lenses. Physically, it blows pretty much any other lens away in terms of feel and quality for the price. Optically, it is good, but does show its age in terms of sharpness, where it can't compete with modern lenses. Where it is exceptional, though, is its contrast, which blows away the Nikon. I don't know what camera Alnardo, sorry if I've spelled that wrong, has, but there are issues with 85mm f1.4 lenses wide open in manual focus. The same goes with Canon. Unfortunately, with most of the current Nikon camera lineup, exception the D5 and D500, their manual rangefinder system is not accurate enough to get guaranteed focus at f1.4 or f1.8. You can get a magnifying eyepiece to help manually focus, but even then, getting focus at an open aperture is exceptionally hard and not guaranteed. So as an everyday lens, using most current DSLRs, I would go with the Nikon 85mm f1.8G. This is not the whole story though. If the majority of photos you take are on a tripod and you're willing to use the rear LCD screen of the Nikon, then the Zeiss 85mm is a very good lens, or if you're using apertures over f5.6, the Nikon or Canon focus system will easily be able to focus. Another thing to consider is if he is using a second non-Nikon system or a film camera, the Zeiss 85mm is designed to work with film camera, and the old manual focus system is exceptional, and you can get focus really easily. Also, if you're using a mirrorless system like the Sony A7, I use the Fuji X-E1, then focusing is really easy, particularly with focus peaking and zoom. It also has the advantage of having a manual aperture ring and amazingly good focus ring. As I said at the beginning, I love the Zeiss 85mm f1.4 Planar T, and I'm probably biased, but I would buy the Zeiss. I currently own the 85mm Milvus, which I bought over the Nikon 85mm f1.4G, but I wouldn't buy it as a first 85. And he says brackets, I have an old Nikkor 85mm f1.8D, which I shoot handheld and still gives great results, even though it is in the same league as the newer A5 f1.8G. Hope this is an interesting, different perspective. And it certainly is. Thank you very much, Michael. It's a great summary, a great mini review, essentially, of your experiences shooting this camera on both DSLRs and on manual focus cameras and on the Sony system. And did I say this camera? This lens. So there's some reasons why you might want the Zeiss 85mm f1.4 Planar T. What he considers its strengths are and why he would buy it. A couple of key points that Michael pointed out, which for me put me right back to what I think I had originally said, is that I would buy the 85mm f1.8G, the Nikon. He says optically it is good, but does show its age in terms of sharpness, where it can't compete with modern lenses. So to me, right there, I wouldn't spend the money on that lens. I would just go with the Nikon 85mm f1.8G, which is a phenomenal lens. And then he says where it is exceptional is contrast. Now, I guess people can have different views on this, but to me, I can add the contrast back in Photoshop or in Lightroom. That's not a big deal. It's very easy to bump my contrast. So I'd rather have the sharpness of the 85 f1.8G and the autofocus, the stellar autofocus there of a newer G lens, than a little bit more contrast, which I can easily add back. You can't really add sharpness back, but you can easily add contrast back in. That's my thoughts. I don't know. Do you guys agree with me on that? Do you agree with Michael on that? Mostly I just wanted to present that's a really good kind of counter argument to what I was saying on why you might want to buy the Zeiss. But I also just wanted to add those caveats because from his own experiences there, kind of reinforces to me why I would buy the Nikon 85 f1.8G over the Zeiss, which he kind of alludes to. If you don't, he wouldn't buy that probably as the first lens. He said I wouldn't buy it as my first 85mm. What do you guys think? Do you own a Zeiss? More feedback? Do you guys have any more feedback on the Zeiss? If you're a Zeiss owner, leave your comments below. Do your thoughts echo Michael's, or are you more like me where the Zeiss is really of no interest to you and you would stick with, say, the 85 f1.8G? I get what he's saying. If you want to manual focus a lens, if you want to use it on the Fuji or the Sony systems, then perhaps that's something I would really look at. I don't do a lot of manual focusing lenses except in video. And there again, I'm probably more inclined to buy an older Nikon f1.8.4, maybe even a Rokinon or something, a newer Rokinon, which is probably sharper like the Nikon is, and is manual focus as well. What do you guys think? Leave your comments below. Let us know. Thanks for tuning in. Thanks for your feedback, Michael. That's fantastic. Thank you for taking the time to put together such concise thoughts and a considerate feedback and taking the time to write in there. Thanks, folks. Stay tuned. We'll be back soon here at artoftheimage.com.